body, Nikita here, and today we're going to talk about my PTSD and what has caused it.
You made this mess and left me with the pieces. Now I wanna burn all the bridges between us. I can't focus, I can't forget. I've been thinking too much lately. I just need to clear my head.
I've been going to therapy for PTSD for several months now. I've been diagnosed for several years, and it's complex. Parts of it is because of my childhood, parts because of domestic violence, part because of medical malpractice, and lots of things. But today I'm going to focus on what's bothering me the most lately, and that was the domestic violence. It was December 31st, 2005, New Year's Eve. My ex and I went to Mexicali to party. We went with two other couples. I was 6 months pregnant. And both of the other women were pregnant as well. And then the men got really, really drunk. And on the way back from Mexicali, my ex was hanging out the window, screaming at cars passing by, screaming at people walking down the street, profanities in both English and in Spanish. And I began to get really scared because we were in the line to cross back into the States and we had nowhere to go. There's cars all around us. There's no escape. If one of these people wanted to come and fight him or hurt me because of what he was saying, there was nowhere for us to go. I begged him to stop, and it seemed the more scared that I got, the worse that he got. And so I told him that when we get back into the States, I'm dropping him off with his parents and I'm going home. That I didn't want to spend the night with him when he was acting this way. And so we get to his mother's house, I drop him off. I didn't even get off of her street when she called me and told me that she wasn't allowing him into the house and that he was my problem, and if I didn't want him to sleep out in the cold, that I need to come back and get him. So I turned around. Man, do I regret turning around. So I went back to pick him up. Again, not even off of his street. And he makes the comment to me that I'm gonna fuck you tonight if you want me to or not. And I slammed on the brakes and told him, "Did you just threaten to rape me?" And he said, "If that's what you want to call it, we're together, so no one's going to believe you." And so I put the car in park, and I told him to get out of my car. I told him that I only turned around because I didn't want him sleeping out in the cold. But after that comment, I really didn't care where he slept. And before he got out of the car, he reached over and snatched the keys out of the ignition and threw them towards the canal. As far as I knew, they went in the water. So I got out of the car and I started walking towards town. He yelled after me and, said a bunch of things, and I just ignored him and I just kept walking. And he came running up from behind me and pushed me with all of his strength forward, and I fell onto my stomach. I tried to get up, and he wrenched my hands out from underneath me and started dragging me down the street. At least 50 yards. I could feel my dress hike up and the gravel of the beaten road tearing through my flesh. Screaming for someone to help me, begging him to let me go, begging him to stop. He was pulling me so fast I couldn't get back up on my feet. And suddenly a porch light turned on and someone came outside and yelled, "Hey, stop. I'm gonna call the police, get out of here." And at that time, he dropped my arms and he ran as fast as he could back to his mother's house. So I got myself up and I started briskly walking. I was pregnant, so I wasn't running, but I was going as fast as I could towards town. As soon as I turned the corner, I suddenly felt really scared that he was going to come after me again. And so I went up to the closest house and banged on the door. Keep in mind, this isn't like 3 o'clock in the morning. The sun hadn't come up yet, middle of the night. And I don't know who lives in this house. I just banged on the door, rang the doorbell repeatedly until someone answered the door, frantically explained to them what was going on and that I was scared for my life. They let me in, let me use the bathroom, and that's when I realized that I was wet. And at first I thought, maybe, I'm pregnant, but I just lost my bladder. It happens, when you sneeze, when you cough, when you laugh, when you're pregnant. And didn't think much of it. Get out of the bathroom, call my grandmother, told her to meet me at the 7-Eleven in town and pick me up. Briefly explained what had happened. And, just abandoning my car where it was, because I didn't know what to do with it, so I just left it there. And, the couple that let me in took me to the 7-Eleven. A few moments after getting to the 7-Eleven, my ex shows up. The clerk locked the doors so that he couldn't get in, and he tried breaking the glass, screaming through the door, horrible things at me, eventually saying that he knew that my daughter was at home with my grandpa alone, and that he was going to go take her. And so the clerk eventually threatened to call the cops, and he took off. My grandma shows up, picks me up, takes me home. As soon as we get there, I run straight to her room to check on my daughter. And sure enough, there she was, sleeping in the bed with my grandpa. And I took a sigh of relief. My grandpa gets up, demands to know what's going on, sees the road rash that was from my knee to my bra line. My grandfather called the police as soon as he saw my injuries. I had road rash from my knee to my bra line. And the police were just across the street, so it didn't take long for them to get there. I explained to them what happened. My grandpa insisted I show them my injuries, which I was very hesitant about, but he kind of forced me to do it. They took a report, and then they left, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go upstairs and go to sleep. So I go upstairs to my room, and guess what I find? My ex in my bed. Apparently he had parked my car a couple blocks away so I wouldn't know he was there, and climbed in through my window and went to sleep in my bed. So I went back downstairs, not wanting to deal with it. Didn't tell my grandparents he was up there because I really didn't want to deal with the police again. I did not want another scene, and I just crawled into my grandparents' bed and went to sleep with my daughter. And when I woke up, he was gone. So I called my friend to take me to go look for my purse that got lost in the scuffle. We looked for a while and didn't find it. And while looking, I started having contractions. So my friend took me to the hospital. The nurses quickly recognized that I had been assaulted by my injuries. I did try and lie because they knew who my ex was, and I didn't want to deal with the drama. But they knew I was lying. They knew that my injuries were too severe for me to have fallen and gotten them myself. And so they called the police. And again, I had to tell what happened. I was honest with the police. Figured why lie? I already told the police in my hometown what had happened. So I told the police what had happened. And they discovered that my water had ruptured. I didn't lose all of my water, but I had like sprung a leak, I guess. And so I had to sleep in a bed upside down for 3 weeks while my bag of waters healed, which it eventually did, thankfully. And I was able to carry to 8 months. I was a month early when she came. I did go back to him. I don't know why, but I don't regret it either, because we had another child, and I can't ever regret the decisions that led to her being born. But I'm not with him anymore, and leaving him was the best decision I've ever made. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and I hope this opens your eyes to PTSD and how many survivors there are out there. What us women have gone through.